Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Shane and I are back for another Survivor What If interview. This time we've got Holly Hoffman from Survivor Nicaragua. Holly, welcome to the Tribe of Nerds.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, this is exciting. So Holly, we're gonna go through what ifs with you. So the first what if that we have for you is so we know Fabio won 3 immunities in a row from 6 all the way to the end. What if you had been able to get him out and stopped him from winning immunity, and presumably you're in the final 3? So walk us through that scenario. What happens?
Okay, what if Fabio would have not won the last immunity? I asked myself that many times. In fact, yesterday, where we had to balance the coins on the end of the sword.
Yeah.
Oh, Ash, close. Ash, win. And when Fabio won, I actually thought they were going to vote Ash off. So I thought I was in there, but when we got back to the camp, I could kind of tell they were all hiding from. No, don't let it be me. But I truly believe Fabio wouldn't have won. It probably would have been between Chase. Was he was liked, but he was not liked. Does that make sense? Earned a lot of bridges. I would have really had to been able to. I would have had to talk my way into it, because going back to what I did to Dan's shoes, I was not liked because of that. I don't know if I would have gotten Dan's vote. I think I would have gotten a lot of the younger people's votes, but Chase only lost by 1 point to Fabio, to one vote. So I would have had to really fight for Sash. And I believe I did that at Tribal Council by saying I kind of strung Chase along, because Chase, everything I told Chase to do, he did, except Dan voting me off. But I had to do some swift talking. I want to say that I probably could have won, but I do honestly think that it would have been between Chase.
Right. Yeah. It seemed like it would have been close, and it is crazy to me because I do think Chase is one of those that you can make the argument that he should have won over Fabio. But
people are going to be shocked when they hear this, but Chase could never make up his mind. Even when he voted, he would say, "Oh, I really don't know. I really don't want to vote for Brenda." Well, that's part of the game, Chase. You have to talk. Going back and watching the season several times, I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but Sash, if you really look at the, Sash was able to get Marty's idol from him. Sash did a lot of backstabbing. Sash was the one that really, truly played the game in our.
Yeah, that was definitely noticeable from the edit. So it was a little surprising to see him kind of just get thrown aside at Final Tribal. Like, I thought he would have got more attention or more votes. So that was interesting. But it was still the era of Survivor where, this backstabbing gameplay was not as respected. But now it is.
Yeah, our season, it was definitely not. It was, when you kind of really look at who played the game to get where they were, the final 3, and he didn't get any votes. Got 0 votes. And Fabio just kind of floated along. Let's be honest, he did. And he won those last 3 immunities, and he just didn't let anyone. And we really did have a jury that it was hard to look at them and go, okay, who really played this game? And I would have said that at what if I would have said that?
Yeah.
The Tribal Council, the last Tribal Council, said, you guys all need to really look at who played this game, not who you just like in this game, who played the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going into that Final Tribal, was the jury kind of undecided, and you feel like most people decided at Final Tribal, or were they leaning in certain directions going in?
I think most of them were kind of undecided yet. And when Fabio came in and he kind of gave this sympathy story, remember that? I think their hearts kind of started belt and they were like, "Oh, we need to vote for this guy," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I really think that their minds were not quite made up yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know another what if I think that we should talk about is when it was the final five, and it was, of course, Sash and Chase and myself and okay, who's the final five?
Dan and Fabio.
Fabio, myself, Dan and Fabio actually asked me to go into an alliance with them. And we showed that. We're standing around the fire, and Chase and Sash were gone. They were filling the water bottle. And Dan and Fabio looked at me and they said, you know, would you be willing to jump over with us? I should have alliance with everyone, because then I convinced Fabio to the final three.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. So then you would have voted out Sash or Chase at the final five. I'm assuming it would have been Sash because that's who Dan tried to get voted out.
Yeah. You know, and then Dan was the next one voted out because they really didn't show this, but Dan got really sick. Yeah, he was very ill. He wasn't feeling well. And of course, I used that as a strategic move and saying, oh my gosh, we need to get him out.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if Dan made it to the finals, just based on how that jury was voting based on likability, I feel like he was very likable to a lot of people and he could have done well.
Dan, very likable. They actually called him Uncle Dan. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah.
So he did nothing. You know, he laid around. He never got firewood, but he was funny. He was personal, and they liked it. So looking at our jury, he probably would have won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if he won, his winner's montage, the first shot I imagine they're going to show is him sitting in that giant chair, because I still love that scene.
He had a lot of money. You know,
yeah.
I probably, if I would have gone up against him, I would have said, now, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Are you going to do this because you like him? Or, you know, because he constantly, everything had a price tag to Dan. You know, how much, even when we were at the finale, everything had a price tag. You know, I'm wearing this $2,500 tuxedo and I got my Rolex watch on, and I was just like, oh my gosh, Dan. So yes, everything had a price tag.
Yeah. Well, speaking of money, I did want to bring up a moment in the game where you stayed in the game because of Jimmy Johnson. What was it like playing with Jimmy Johnson?
You know, I don't know if you know this, but you don't start the game right away. They dropped us off at a resort. We were at this resort for 6 nights, and then we started 7th morning, and we couldn't talk to anyone. We weren't supposed to look at anyone. Well, I would sit at this resort before we even started the game, and I would be like, God, why does that look so familiar? And I kind of had an idea, but I didn't. I was like, I don't think Jimmy Johnson would. Got there, they announced that Jimmy Johnson was on our season, and I couldn't believe it. And as our tribe went off and we sat around and we told everyone where we were from and how many times we had applied, and we were just kind of talking, and he basically told us, he said, you know, I'm not here to win the $1 million. He said, I'm here to help you further yourselves in this. So he got very ill. The 8 days that he was on the show, he lost 18 pounds, and he was really sick. He was throwing up all the time. He was going back and talking to some of the producers. And I don't want to say that he quit. I don't feel my part he did. But when we went to tribal council that night, I remember Jeff going around and saying, you know, Jane, do you feel like you're the weakest link? And she said no, and so forth. And then Jeff got to Jimmy. Jimmy said, I feel like I'm the weakest link. And that's kind of when the green light went on, and I was like, oh gosh, he is really ill. Because I went to tribal council that night, and just before tribal council, Jill came up to me and said, voting for Jimmy, he's very ill. And I had the decision in my head, okay, I'm going to vote for Jimmy, and he just saved my game.
Right.
I'm going to vote for me, and I'm going to look like the fool. And when Jeff asked that question, I thought, okay, he is going to go home. But he was a lot of fun to play with. He was very personable, very down to earth. And I was actually shocked he was on Survivor, but he applied 3 times to get on the show. Yeah. So
awesome.
really cool to play with.
Yeah. Shane, you have anything else?
Yeah, well, that's crazy too with your season, because you have someone coming in as like a really famous person, and you have someone leave as a really famous person being Chase, because now, I mean, he's huge in the country music world. So I almost wonder with him, like, if he won the game, like, does he still go on that same path or not?
Yeah, you know what? I think he would, because he was very into music. He loves music. He loves his career. When I went to his first concert, he thanked me for coming, and he said, you know, I said, Chase, I still can't believe you voted me off. And he said, Holly, you get free VIP tickets to every concert you want to come to. So I've been to his concerts, and they've all been free. So you know what? I got something out of the deal.
It's good, yeah. Yeah, I also wanted to ask about the final tribal, because I feel like from what I saw on screen, like Fabio seemed to think he had it won, and then like at the reunion when Jeff reads a few Fabio votes and he's all happy, and then all the Chase votes come in, like it seems like Fabio had no idea it was going to be that close.
No, I don't think he did. I think Fabio thought he was going to have more votes. I really did. Yeah, because it was one vote, so it was a lot closer. Yeah. Chase, you know, I do have to go back and say that when I go back and watching the season, I thought Sash probably deserved a few votes, and so I kind of think, what if I would have voted for Sash? It would have been a tie between Fabio and Chase. But I did vote for Chase, even if I felt like I kind of strung him along. I did vote for him.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting to think about, because if you voted Sash and it's a tie, then he would have been the one to break the tie.
Yeah. Oh, I've thought of that many times. Yes.
That is interesting. I think it seemed he would have voted Chase, but out of the two of them, but
I have to agree with you, because the 3 of us were in a very tight alliance. So I would think he would have voted Chase as well. So then Fabio wouldn't have won.
Yeah. Changes. I did want to ask as well, like, how do you think the quits impacted things? Like, what was your reaction to Nyanka and Purple Kelly quitting? Because that was a very frustrating thing to watch as a viewer, seeing how Nyanka and Purple Kelly quitting impacted everything.
100%. I see that people talk to me about, you know, people have applied for how many seasons, and they maybe get one call. I know in Dakota, I think he's applied like 20 some times.
Wow.
And one call. So just having the opportunity to go out there and play and walking off, it was very, very disappointed. Not just for the people that were playing with them, or the people that were already on the jury, you know, Alina and Marty and Brenda, how do you think they felt? But all the fans, you know, all the people that want to play this game, and they just walk off the show. I tried to convince them to stay, which I know I should have probably never done. But I remember telling Nyanka, like at 11 days left. You know, what are you thinking? I mean, and I think what really bothered me is after she quit and the show was over, she said, "Oh, I could have won that game." Well, you know, but it was very, very disappointing. And I went back to camp while Nyanka went on this great excursion, and Kelly and I said, she said, "Well, if Nyanka quits, I'm going to quit." Like, no, be the follower. You know, be the one that stand up and say, "I." So it was very. I'm glad yes, Survivor made that choice now that if you quit, you can't vote.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Chase would have won in that case if they wouldn't have been on the jury, because it would have been 4-3. So
yeah, you're exactly. Yeah, and you know, Naomi gave Chase after she was walking off the show, but it was disappointing, especially when you're that close to the end. I mean, if you can that many days and you have 11 days left, come on. So I don't like to see anybody quit. Look at me, day 5.
yeah.
And I just have to do, it's a hard game.
Yeah.
Even I've been a fan, you know, you get out there and it's a way different atmosphere, and you have to know that going in. But I mean, it's pouring rain, you're not eating, these people are backstabbing you, and I wanted to quit, but you have to think days I can make this. Yeah. So disappointing.
Yeah, it definitely in the edit seemed like it came out of nowhere. Like they were going strong, and then here you go. And it's interesting because like Nayanka got such a big edit, and then Purple Kelly didn't. And I'm assuming she didn't because she quits. But it's interesting they gave Nayanka it still. But I guess they knew she was such a big character.
Yeah, and you know, I don't like recruits. I like if you've applied, you know, you want to play this game. And Purple Kelly was a recruit.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think also makes a big difference. That I truly wonder if she really knew what she was getting herself into.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you have, Shane? All right. Yeah, this has been great, Holly. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I could talk Survivor forever. I can't wait for this next season to start. I was just looking at the new cast this morning, and I got all excited, and I'm excited for 50 as well. It'll be fun.
We are as well. Absolutely. With that, we will catch you all next time on the next Survivor What If on Tribe of Nerds.